My mother-in-law called me a gold digger for 6 years. I found her secret trust fund. I'm Alina, I'm 33, and I married Daniel 4 years ago. From the first dinner, his mother Linda made it clear she thought I was after something. I grew up working 2 jobs to get through community college. Daniel grew up in a house with a lake view. Linda never let either of us forget the gap. At our engagement party, she toasted to Daniel's generous heart and looked right at me while she said it. Daniel always brushed it off. That's just how she talks, he'd say. I let it go, mostly, because he seemed happy. And I told myself Linda would come around eventually. She didn't. At Christmas 2 years ago, Linda mentioned, almost casually, that Daniel's father Robert had left a little something for the grandchildren's education when he passed, and that Daniel simply wasn't good with money, so she decided to manage it herself. Daniel nodded along like this was old news. I asked later that night how much the little something actually was. He didn't know. Nobody had ever shown him a number. That bothered me more than anything Linda had ever said about me directly. I'm a bookkeeper. Numbers are what I do. So over the next year, quietly, I started paying attention. I noticed Linda always paid for family trips in cash. I noticed she bought a second condo in Sarasota, outright, the same year Robert's will was finalized. I noticed she got strangely tense whenever the subject of Robert's estate came up, and always steered the conversation back to how lucky Daniel was that she'd protected his inheritance from bad decisions. Bad decisions being, as far as I could tell me. I didn't confront her. I didn't tell Daniel what I suspected. Not yet. Because I didn't want to hand Linda a reason to say I was digging around for money. Instead, I asked a probate attorney I knew from a former job to walk me through how to legally request a copy of Robert's filed will, since Daniel was a named beneficiary and had every right to see it. It took 3 weeks. When it arrived, it was all there in black and white. Robert had left Daniel a trust worth $340,000 to be released in full when Daniel turned 30. Daniel had turned 32 years earlier. Linda was still sitting on it. I didn't scream. I didn't even tell Daniel that first night. I made copies, put the original somewhere safe, and waited for the right moment instead of the angriest one. That moment came at Thanksgiving. Linda was in the middle of describing the cute little getaway fund she was putting together for herself, laughing about how she'd earned it after holding this family together financially all these years. Daniel's sister Rachel, the one Linda never questioned about anything, asked what she meant by that. Linda smiled and said something about family money needing a steady hand. I set my fork down and asked, gently, whether that steady hand included the education trust Robert had set up specifically for Daniel. The table went quiet. Linda's smile didn't move, but her eyes did. I slid the folder across the table to Daniel, not to her. He opened it, read the trustee line, read the release date, and looked up at his mother, not at me. I didn't list every withdrawal I traced. I didn't call her a thief, even though the paperwork basically did that for me. I just said, calmly, that Daniel's attorney would be reaching out about releasing the remaining balance, and that I was sure Linda had simply lost track of the deadline, the way anyone might. Linda started to argue about protecting Daniel from himself. Daniel, for the first time in 4 years, cut her off mid-sentence. The money came through 6 weeks later, most of it anyway. Linda still tells people at church that I went digging through the family's private business. She's not wrong, I did. I never brought it up to her again after that dinner. I didn't have to. Every time she opens her mouth about gold diggers now, Daniel just looks at her, and she stops.